might be eating the that's human excreta or feces as we speak. Now, a research by a team from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, UK, shows the salad we consume from street vendors contain fecal matter. That is the point of worry. Also, we take a look at what the National Democratic Congress, NDC, is doing now. So speak at the moment, they are addressing a press conference. They set up a 13-member committee to investigate what led to the party's poor performance at the just ended general elections. And that particular committee, the 13-member committee, will be headed by this man that you see on your screen now, Professor Kwesi Botje. We'll get into the details of what the NDC intends to do going forward here on Key Point. My name is Alfredo Conce. Stay with us. All right, so let's get into the details of this very scary health study, which has revealed that 98% of salad samples prepared by street vendors were contaminated with bacteria known as Escherichia coli, which causes food poisoning. The researchers also found that 90% of the salad sampled were considered unsatisfactory for consumption based on the Ghana Food Drugs Authority, that's the FDA, food safety standards. Apart from food contamination, they sought to know how awareness of health risk of irrigated wastewater influence purchases and consumption of food prepared with hygiene practices. Dr. Prince Entry Ejay of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, UK, was the lead researcher in this. In all, 160 consumers of street food in two neighborhoods, we're told, in Accra, and also 160 customers who buy salad vegetables at the 3 central markets, also in Accra, were sampled. The group recommends that public health workers would have to intensify food safety education, as research reveals people who eat outside pay little attention to hygiene. Results of the study suggest only 2% of street food patrons consider health in making decisions on where to eat or buy their food. That is where the problem is, and that is the major concern that we're raising at the moment. And thankfully, we want to get into this. Mariam Lovelace Johnson is a head of Food Study Management Department at the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA. For what you see on your screens is how sumptuous and tantalizing that salad looks like, but you might just be digging your grave if you start eating that food, according to this study. Madam, good to have you. Good evening to you. Have you seen the study that we're talking about and the details of it?
Yes, we have.
Does it scare you as much?
Well, it's scary. It's just scary, but then the Food and Drugs Authority is doing a lot of public education in that regard, just so that we can bring it down.
Well, but then those who raise the question that the details of this study brings to question the effectiveness of your surveillance, you know, as an authority, the FDA, the food division, so that it didn't have to take a research institution in London to have to let us know that 98% of the salad we're buying on our streets is contaminated with fecal matter.
Well, it is a very complex issue to start with, because there is what we call hazard analysis critical control points. It's all about at every stage in the food processing, or really food consumption, or the food chain, let me put it that way, everybody has a part to play, or a role to play, so to speak. So the producer or the farmer has a role to play. So even the irrigation with wastewater, there has to be something that has to be done. It has to be stopped 2 weeks before harvesting.
2 weeks?
Before harvesting. And that has to be done. Having done that, the transporter has a role to play. The transporter takes it from the farmer to the retail market. When the transporter gets there, it's not about putting the food on the floor or putting the vegetables and all that in your truck, a dirty bucket and all that. So it has to be clean. And then when you get there to the retailer too has a role to play. Of course, the things that don't just have to be tipped onto the floor like sand and, they normally tip it and get it like a heap of sand.
Exactly.
The retailer too has a role to play. What do I do? Do I even take off the outer covers? Do I wash them and all that before selling? And then when it gets to the one who is preparing, disinfection has to be done.
So at all these stages that you've outlined, does the FDA surveillance or monitoring mechanism check the effectiveness of all these stages before it gets into our plate for us to eat innocently, thinking that we're safe?
We do to a large extent, and
How
we do
effective
public
is this?
education too. The effectiveness could be affected a bit by the itinerant nature of the people that were taken into consideration when the study was being done. The check street food vendors. And most people,
well, I can say for a fact that I've seen places where people sell food, the environment is bad, and I'm wondering what the FDA is doing about this, because it is in the full glare. People go there, they patronize these foods, you see them, but what do you do about them?
The FDA, in collaboration with the district assemblies, are doing a lot in that regard. We ensure that they even have food handlers test certificates, and then they also have some education on food safety. But the problem is the fact that the whole trade is itinerant. It is such that they are not at one place. The vending site is different, the preparation site is different.
So is that to say that you do not have enough men on the ground to do the effective monitoring at various stages of the preparation of the food?
We do have, but then
then the question about where they're not being at one point or the other doesn't arise.
No.
If you have all the men to check at every instance how this food is prepared.
It has to do with appreciation of food safety by themselves. That is where the problem is.
But how do we know? The salad looks very, tantalizing, tasty. You see it. You have, saliva in your mouth, salivating. You go buy it. You eat it. You don't know what goes into it. The bacteria we are talking about, this
E. coli,
Escherichia coli, is not evident in the eye. Open for you to see physically. Okay, it has to go through laboratory tests to reveal. So then again, you would not blame
even the sellers themselves, the processors themselves, the check sellers, the street food vendors. They need to appreciate it, because if they don't appreciate it, what we're talking about, it's high levels of microbial loads and all that, and these come about as a result of the presence of food. And of course, what we are talking about is food, highly nutritious food for that matter. Absolutely. Because it has the mayonnaise and all that, and then there is water in there, so the water activity is high, so it is good recipe for the microorganism, good breeding grounds, and then you give it the right temperature for their growth. Sometimes it's not refrigerated, it's not served on ice and all that, and then you give it some time. They prepare it, let's say about 6 a.m. and the thing is being sold at about 2 p.m.
You know all of this. So yes. What have you done in checking this? Because you seem to have an idea of what the problem is.
That's why I was telling you about the itinerant nature makes it very difficult to regulate. If they were stationary, we will ensure that they have licenses before they trade, before they do their business. We actually started this licensing thing, ensuring that they have permits, either some hang around their necks or on their tables, just to tell the public that if you go look for this before you buy from them. That way we will ensure that the person has good storage conditions.
About this, so that if I go there, I should know that I should look out for something that's hanging on.
No, we haven't done that.
You haven't done that.
We haven't done that.
But the
we
problem
wanted
still
to do
persists,
that.
So how
we
are
are
you
educating them? It could have been worse. We are really educating them. Most of the problem stems from the storage. The storage of the salads, the handling of the salads.
But then again, yes, so we know the problem, okay? So why are we waiting to implement the exact measures that are needed to check this? Because you're saying that
we are doing the enforcement as well.
So you know these check people don't adhere to your safety measures. Have you done anything about it? Have you closed any of them down?
Oh, we do. We do that quite a number of times. Yeah.
Recently?
We do. Yes,
You've
we do.
closed some
We
check.
close some a lot of the time. We do that all the time.
How about these
We
salad
do that
sellers?
all the time.
There's always also been an
Even after
enterprise
this
where-
survey, we did that because we knew where the things were bought from. We did some education for them. We just don't go out just doing, well, this is the enforcement thing. We give you some chance, we educate you, give you a chance, look at the things again, and then if you're recalcitrant, we let the Lord do its work.
Okay, so I'd like you to just take a look at this. Now, if you are one who just joined us and while we are doing this, you probably may not have an idea of this. 98% of the salad you might be buying on the streets from street vendors contains fecal matter. And as a result, you might just be eating something that will be of poison to you eventually. But just so you give you a brief or an understanding of what we're talking about in here. That's how it actually does look like. As scary as the situation might be with respect to this, as you see on your screens, the food as it looks that nice may not be that nice in itself because of the very dangerous bacteria content in there. Now, the question is also that there's an increasing enterprise of people now selling salad, just salad, not the check. I don't know if you've seen that. You know, people just have a salad stand and they sell only salad and not just any other food. And this study also went to those people as well. Is the FDA regulating the activities of these people as well?
When you talk about regulation, yes, we are, but we are enforcing our laws and ensuring that the thing is being done properly to ensure that the food is safe.
And we have this problem, and a survey reveals 98% of salad being contaminated. How effective is your enforcement? That's what I'm saying, that this detail brings to question the effectiveness of your enforcement.
It could even have been worse than 98.
Well, it could
maybe
have been better.
101.
It could have
yes,
been better.
But it's getting better. That's my point actually. It was worse. And we're still working on them. And actually, we had to go to places that we did it with them, actually. And then we had to even go to places that we know that, no, these things are really bad. And for some reason, there will really be very high microbial loads. So we had to go to these ones. So we chose these ones. We didn't really go to the ones that we felt like, well, things are right. We chose these ones to see what really is happening and the situation.
Okay, so just to be on a safer side, so the members general public watching us at the moment, what should they look out for when going to buy food to avoid this contamination?
Especially with the salads, please, and I'm imploring all Ghanaians, never buy salad that is not served on ice. Even when you go
salad
for
that's not
served on ice, it should be cold and served on ice for that matter to maintain the temperature. Never ever. People go to wache sellers and these salads are virtually hot. You see salads that are in that are on trays and you can see the trays, the condensation and the polythene around the trays and all that, telling you that the thing is hot. That is a no-go area. It is a recipe for
maybe
disaster.
They keep it hot because the heat can kill the bacteria and
No,
that's
that
not a
temperature
misconception.
is not enough to kill the bacteria. Between 5 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius, that's the best temperature you can ever get for any bacteria. They will grow, they will survive, thrive, they will multiply, and they will produce toxins. So nobody, please, I'm imploring all Ghanaians, even as we enter the New Year celebrations and all that, when you go for parties and there is a buffet there, if the salad is not served on ice, please do not eat.
Well, but we did a story finally here at TV3 where there's this gentleman who grows cabbage and at some electric poles closer to the Ajinosaris Perez Dome Church area. He uses the water, running water in the gutter to water these cabbages. We did that. We didn't hear from the FDA in going to clamp that gentleman down. He's still growing that. Did you go to check to find out if that is
the
case?
Wastewater irrigation thing is, well, kind of accepted, but
The
then
wastewater
the
system?
intervention is that it should not be done 2 weeks before the harvest.
I see.
So that's the education we give to the people.
Okay.
So you cannot do 2 weeks before the harvest. That's what I'm saying. At every level within the food chain, you need to reduce the level of contamination or the microbial load to the barest minimum or eliminate it completely.
Eliminate it completely. So eat salad, ice, cold.
Yes.
Thank you. Mariam Lovelace Johnson is the head of the Food Security
Food safety.
Safety at the Food and Drugs Authority. It's good to have you. Thank you
Thank you
so much for this education. Very grateful.